Lazy, I think I'm about to go rogue on these dudes.
There's too many here.
I got a
And if you-
Firefly that could tag them.
Let the boss come out first. Get the weights. And I'm dead.
Seeker mine detected. Now detecting contaminated gear.
I want this backpack. Be righteous. Let's go to Strat.
Okay.
They're all on. I'm done. I have a farm fucking.
Whoa.
In the light world.
Oh, we can go fight them and get your stuff back. Yeah, an exotic, dude.
Yeah.
Listen. They're about to all die right now. I got 2 down. Come on. Other one about to go down right now. Come on. Trying to get his boy up. Get him up.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
All right, get me up, Lazy.
I've got him. No. Okay.
Did they just deconstruct your stuff? All right,
There's
pick
a
your
gear
stuff
back.
up. Pick your stuff up. Let's go. The helo's over here. Let's get out of here, bro. I got your back, man. Let's get it. Distraction available as we speak, so hopefully we can get it out with no problems.
15 seconds. We're going.
Let's get it, boy. See? You see? No worries. I got you.
There you go, buddy. Don't go dance for you.
What kind of exotic you had?
Yeah, ninja bike. I just wanted the backpack. I didn't care about the.
Rogue agent neutralized. Rogue hive detected. Helo was headed back. Rogue agent neutralized. Immediate medical assistance needed.
All these people running around with status hazard protection. I gotta make an explosive build, you feel me?
An agent needs assistance.
Got you. Got you. I'm surgical with this sticky boy.
Agent down. Agent down.
Alright, buddy. I'll go pick him up. Yo, they don't know what's happening to him. I promise you, they don't know what's happening to him right now.
Rogue hive detected. Rogue defender drone detected.
Hey everyone, Be Righteous here from Identity with my very first explosive build for this patch. I want to apologize for my warrior build because on that video I said that the fire sticky bomb stacks with explosive damage. Well, it doesn't. So in order to redeem myself, I'll upload a video that utilizes the fire sticky bomb with its full potential. Anyways, the explosive build you were waiting for is here. So if you're interested in builds from DPS all the way to skill, please drop a like, and if you're new here, don't hesitate to subscribe. I'd love to have you. Burst Trauma utilizes a skill that I believe is the most slept on and underrated in the game. A skill which has an auto-targeting system that once locked on, hones in like multiple heat-seeking missiles and will literally wipe full groups of players and mobs. So strong that anyone who does not have 1 million armor will be instantly downed. This is guaranteed damage, by the way, because once you're tagged, there's no escape. So you better not get close to each other or it will detonate. This mechanic prevents teams from rushing overwhelmingly, which then allows your team synergy to tear them apart. This build is absolutely viable for PvE and PvP. I've used it in both, and I even ran it in a legendary mission. Don't worry, I'll show you exactly how I put this together, and we're starting right now. Alright, another week, another build. I use Technician Specialization a lot, and that's because that one extra skill tier allows you to do so much if you didn't know. So I think that it's a lot more important to use Technician with hybrids and skill builds than it is others like Demolitionist, because all you're sacrificing is that 10% explosive damage that you get from Demolitionist. So if you're not using the mortar, I'd suggest using the Technician Specialization. That's just my preference, you don't have to. And plus you could also add an extra 10% skill damage or skill repair if you want to go the healer route. But a healer is a little bit debatable because Survivalist is really good for a healer, and I just made one last night, which is gonna be pretty sweet. So stay tuned for that one. Anyway, I spent a lot of time on this build also, and I was trying so hard to min-max because some of these pieces are very hard to min-max based on the fact that they come with defaulted core attributes. And so you need a piece to be an actual god roll in order for it to work in your build. That's the only way. So some of these pieces are kind of hard to farm. The primary weapon I'm going with is the Carbine 7. Always been a weapon I really enjoyed using because of the fire rate and the stability. The fire rate and the stability alone is kind of next to none with this weapon. And it's perfect for this build because all you're mainly doing is activating Spike, where headshots grant you 20% skill damage for 10 seconds. So all you have to do is shoot him in the head and you get another 20% skill damage. And as you can see, the Technician Specialization has a linked laser that pulses enemies that you aim at. And this is good for giving your team vision if you don't have pulse, especially in conflict, because pulse comes back every 1 minute or so. So this is really good to help out your team as a support mechanism. It came decently rolled, but this weapon isn't for damage, it's just for utility in this build. The secondary, I'm running with the Bullet King, just because if you're sitting back, which this build is a sit back build and a calculated build, you want to be smart using this because you're kind of squishy at 840k armor. So if you're sitting back, you can cause a lot of DPS over time, especially in raids and legendary missions when you're not using your skills. It's crazy, you could literally just fire this thing with no end. Now onto the build. And this is the piece I was talking about that has to be god roll in order for it to really work in your build. 10% skill damage and 10% crit chance. I'd rather this be skill haste, but because I wanted this to be a tier 6 build, I wrote skill tier on here. Grupo Sombra only comes as a weapon core, so you need these two attributes to be god roll, or they don't have to be god roll, they could just be skill damage and skill health until you get a better one. And this is the best I could come up with so far for this. Chest piece, Hana-Yu Corporation. Now, Hana-Yu is your go-to brand set if you want to do skill builds or hybrids. It has skill haste, skill damage, and you don't need the weapon damage. And this is one of those brand sets that comes by default with a skill tier. So it's a bit easier to get the pieces you need, because remember, you need skill damage and skill haste. The only downside to this is that it comes with an offensive mod slot, which can be re-rolled to a utility mod slot, but you still need these to be the correct attributes. Now I rolled Trauma on this, which applies blind to an enemy if you hit him in the head. The cooldown is 30 seconds. It applies bleed if you hit him in the chest. Also 30-second cooldown. I'm going to explain to you when I get to the backpack why this synergizes so well. The holster, nothing really special about this. Hana-Yu, this is an easy piece to get. All you need to do is get skill damage or either skill haste, because it already comes with a skill tier. So it'd be pretty nice to have a max rolled skill haste, but it's all good. It'll come eventually. So the backpack, strategic alignment, also comes as a skill tier. The only piece that you're going to have an issue probably getting the right pieces for is the Grupo Sombra, because it comes by default as a weapon core. Skill haste, skill damage, perfect shock and awe. For this, when you hit somebody with a status effect, it gives you 20% skill damage and repair for 27 seconds. Now this synergizes so well because first of all, I got Spike on my Carbine 7 to where headshots grant 20% skill damage, right? And then for trauma, once you hit them in the head, you disorient the enemy, which is crazy because have you ever been blinded? I have, and it's not a fun thing. So when you get blinded, you can't see anything, right? Then once you hit them with your skills, I'd be surprised if they don't get one shot. If not one shot, severely damaged. You'll see the numbers once I get to the skills. Gloves are Grupo Sombra for the 2-piece 15% explosive damage. Now you're getting 30% total from the 1-piece China Light and the 2-piece Grupo. This is why, as I said, I like Technician Specialization for skill builds and hybrids because I rolled an armor core on here to not be so squishy at 840k armor. And once again, I'm missing some skill haste on here, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Skill damage and skill haste is what you want right here. Wyvern knee pads for the skill damage. All you need is 1 piece for the 10% skill damage. Great piece to have. You need these on this build. Comes as a skill tier and great attributes. Another one of the pieces that's easy to get on this build. Alright, so this is what I wanted to get to. The skills. The sticky bomb. If you guys been following me, you know that the sticky bomb has quickly become one of my favorite skills out of all of them. Just because of the functionality, being able to launch this without even aiming it. Because when you stand up and aim it, it's not viable because you're just moving too slow. You're exposing yourself too long. You're most likely going to get killed if you use it that way. So the sticky bomb is hitting for almost 6 million damage in PvE and 1.25 million damage in PvP. And this is without shock and all active. This is without spike active. This is why it one-shots players. So if you got 1.5 million armor, this is going to do a significant amount of damage to you. Anything under 1 million, forget about it. This synergizes really well with the Firefly. And because this is a tier 6 skill build, it gives you plus 60% damage, plus 70% blast radius, and 90% skill haste. When I shoot this thing on the ground, the radius is huge. You could literally set traps for people. I mean, I said before that this was deadly accurate, and you can miss very easily with this. So if you're kind of reluctant to blind fire this thing the way that I tend to use it a lot, then you can shoot it at the ground next to their target. It'll do the same amount of damage, and the radius is so big you'll be able to hit them behind cover. The second skill, I think this is the main part of this build, Burster Firefly. I've been a fan of this skill ever since it came out, and a lot of people sleep on it because they don't think it's effective, but the ability to just auto target enemies is next to none. And once you target 3 enemies or 2 enemies, once they get in close proximity to one another, it detonates. This does 3.3 million damage in PvE and a little over 1 million damage in PvP. So this also one-shots enemies that don't have more than 1 million armor. It has a 16-second cooldown, and remember, on like 3 of my pieces, I didn't even have skill haste, so I could probably get this cooldown to about 13 to 12 seconds, I think. It has 6 targets, 210% speed, and 90% damage. So this thing is gonna hit you so fast, and if you're surgical with this, you can literally wipe teams. And you know, you also don't have to have 3 targets or 2 targets. You could just have 1 target, because you can tag an enemy's skill with this. So if they have a defender drone out, if they have a seeker mine, or any skill that's next to them, the Firefly tags that skill and it acts as a second target. And because it's in close proximity to the enemy, it detonates. So you can use this on 1 target. Another tactic you can use with this is when you tag 3 people with this or 2 people with this, if one of those people die, then the other one or the other 2 detonate automatically, even if they're not in close proximity to one another. So check this out. There was one enemy that got downed, all right? And I told my clanmate, I said, don't kill him, right? So I tagged him with the Firefly, and then there was another enemy above me that I used as the second target. Once that tagged him, I killed the one that was down, it detonated and killed the one that was above me. The strategies you could implement are crazy with this skill. Also, the Firefly's duration is long. When you tag somebody with this, it stays on their back for so long. I remember I tagged like 3 enemies and I died. After I died, they were still beeping with it. They just didn't get close to each other, so they won't detonate. But I threw another 3 Fireflies, so it was double damage when it finally detonated. Which brings me to my next point, because you can stack the Fireflies if they don't detonate at first. You could just keep throwing these on them. I even throw this at people just for the aspect of playing mind games on them, making them think that they're gonna blow up. That annoying beeping sound is also used as an indicator, letting me know where they are if I don't have an actual pulse to visually spot them out, so I can hear them behind walls, and it also helps your team out. Like I said, man, it's the main aspect of the build I wanted to talk about because this skill is so good and people don't realize it. I ran this in a legendary, I ran this in heroic, any content this is viable for. The ability to tag enemies and have guaranteed damage is something that you can't pass up. And also this grenade does almost 2 million damage, more damage than the grenades you get from the demolition and specialization. And that's pretty much it for the build. If you implement these pieces, you will do the same damage that you saw me doing in the gameplay. If you like explosive builds as much as I do, and if this video helped you out in any way, please don't hesitate to drop a like and subscribe. I'd love to have you join the family. Until I see you in my next video, be right out.